So Miller is back, and he'll do conditioning skates to get back into form here. So he's back with the group. I think everybody skated. I don't think anybody took a maintenance day at all. And as far as lineup tomorrow, we'll probably make a goaltending change based on the work to rest ratio, and I don't expect much else to change for a lineup.
Has Colin skated yet?
I don't believe he skated this morning, but he was with us this morning. Could be wrong on that, Bill. But he's with us. It'll be a few days before he comes into practice with us. So,
as far as the comfort of these guys switching in game, they seem to thrive in it. Just snap of the fingers and a different line. Is that just something that you've seen develop from month to month? Just develop throughout the year that they can do that. You know what I mean? I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. I mean, the hope is they can do that because you know that I've talked to you guys many times about that. Even when we first, Tuck first joined us, and everybody really liked the Thompson, Tuck, and Skinner line. The first thing I said is let's not etch that line in stone. Everybody needs to play, to be able to just interchange immediately, in sync, and get in sync immediately. We just need that, as the future moves forward, as we know we have, guys that we can look at years out that will be here. These guys need to learn how to play together as a team of 5 every time they hop on that ice. So if a defenseman trips and a forward has to replace him, you better know how to do it. And that's our approach. It's our approach when we go through practice drills even. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I think we've made that an objective, and I think our guys have embraced it. And I mentioned a couple of days ago, we moved Tuck from the Thompson line to, I think it was with Krebs and I can't remember who else. And the brain triggers and says, "Oh, he got demoted." It's not a demotion when you play with Krebs and maybe it was Cousins. That's not a demotion. And I want that to be it's one thing I learned in coaching. Every single spot in that lineup is important when you win. You don't win and say, okay, these spots aren't important. This line isn't important. Those teams don't win. So for me, yes, every slot in our lineup is valuable. And so when we make tweaks, it has nothing to do with demoting a guy. It has to do with maybe maximizing what we can in that moment. And, that might be moving a certain player away from a line matchup. If I know another team wants to match up against, say, the Thompson line, what will they do if I take one of those players off of that line and put them with another line? Now it causes some havoc potentially over there. So we need to be able to do that and have our guys comfortable with it, and I think they are. They're getting there.
Dylan Cousins' case, I realize he hasn't scored in X amount of games, but by my eyes, it seems to me like he's playing well. He's doing okay out there. Are you seeing the same thing?
Yeah, Dylan is he is still in a massive development phase of his NHL career. What he's doing exceptionally well every day. He has a great sense of objective. Targeting, what our strategy is, what our game plan is, what role he's designated, center, right wing, matchup. He can take all of that in, with his skill set that he can bring and find ways to contribute. And he's done that. And, I don't measure his progress or his performance in goals. It's just not, he's an evolving young talent that there's so many things he's taking in day to day, game to game, situation to situation, that we're probably not going to see consistency in the form of production yet. But as he gains all this experience taking all this in, that consistency is going to come because of all the attributes he has. So, I'm happy when he does score, but I can tell you he's effective even when he's not scoring.
The process of building this began last spring, Don, but training camp, in many ways, it was a clean slate, especially in the room. You know, some of the guys who were here were gone. They could really make it their own. So what's it been like for you to see the process of them becoming a team? You know, you have different guys coming in and out, and it takes time.
Yeah, no, it does take it. I mean, everything good takes time, right? And you know, we're our aspiration is to build toward good, and you know, we know you don't just snap your fingers and it works out. But I will say, Lance, when you bring up last year, I really give a lot of credit to some guys that aren't here. Sammy Reinhart was spectacular for us. Not only a great person and great player, but he helped us in this, as did Ristolainen. They really did. They helped me as a coach, as I've spoken about Okposo. And that change, you know, any change we see today, I think we're seeing it more, but I can tell you behind the scenes was almost immediate. Everybody talked about our culture, and I said to you guys, you know, we're in charge of our culture immediately. Immediately. Our culture can change today. And this is referring back to months ago, and it did. I was confident our culture changed. I mean, it might take longer for others to see it and to feel what that culture is, but you know, I felt I was pretty lucky to be in the situation I was with the people that were here, and it was all these guys, you know, in that locker room behind the scenes that really did make a concentrated effort to get this moving in a direction we're going. A real positive mindset and a competitive mindset, and identify with the passion of why we play the game and why, you know, we're not only lucky enough to be in this profession, but why we pursued this profession. And that's because we love the game, and we're passionate about it. And you know, I think the group has connected with that from day one and been able to build off of that, and we need to continue to build off of that premise.
You guys go through the schedule day to day, but last night wasn't just one of 82. I mean, how do you summon the emotion in that for this game tomorrow, where it's a quick turn, not going to be a full house building,
Yeah.
opponent? I mean, that's got to be concerning.
Yeah, I mean, time will tell. You know, every day is a concern when you're in our, you know, on our positions. Every day is a concern. You know, I always say that it starts 0-0. So no matter what work you did, it's 0-0 on that scoreboard the next day. So reality hits you quick. We did have time to celebrate that. You know, I did reflect a little bit on some of the, you know, what this group has done in the last month is really some really big wins. The Calgary game jumped out. You know, we get slapped pretty good in Edmonton, and the next night in a back-to-back, we play Calgary. The Heritage Classic, I thought these guys performed incredibly well. We know the Chicago game coming back from 4 goals was really neat. The Vegas game was a big game, emotional game. And then last night was really big. And just upon reflection, I think, you know, I probably on the bench had a, you know, more anxiety than the players, which was awesome. You know, here I am trying to control my anxiety on the bench, so I don't negatively affect or add to any anxiety the players have. And as I'm gathering myself and evaluating our players, it's like, wow, these guys are in the moment. I mean, there's no anxiety here at all. They're dialed in, and you know, you see that as a coach in even the post-game celebration, how they handle situations. We've become very businesslike, so we don't get too high, and we don't allow ourselves to get too low. And I like that business approach that this group has identified with and takes, and we're going to need that going into tomorrow because it's a big challenge, as we know. But I do believe our guys have turned the page to tomorrow already. You know, they're you know, in some sense enjoying what happened last night, but they know they want to do well tomorrow, and I think they've turned their attention and focus to that already.
Now, what's your philosophy, just in general, like when you see a lacrosse-style goal or a skillful type of a play like that? There's still a faction of people who feel that's showing up the other team, and somebody should have to pay for that if you do that. But it is a skillful play to make a goal like that. What is your philosophy on that?
Yeah, I don't know if I have a philosophy on it. I guess I'm too preoccupied with too many other things, Paul. I don't know on that. I think I watched that happen, that a goal like that again last night, and hey, there's no rule against it. So
Would you
why
yell
why
at
are
your
we?
players if he did that?
Would I yell if it was a 1-1 game and he missed it and he could have scored another way? I probably would. Yeah, if it was an easy tuck in and you're going for a highlight goal instead of taking care of business, I would. But on that premise, it's. I mean, these guys are scoring that way, so it's not like they're just trying it. There's actually some of these that you wouldn't have scored if you didn't do that. I mean, the goalie had everything covered, so the only thing to do is carry it and lift it over his shoulder. So they've actually taken that particular play, and you tell me how you would score otherwise on a goalie. The one last night was a little different. It was an open net, but he still went around his teammate. I don't know if you can get around him more efficiently than they actually did in those plays. So there's a business sense approach to me in that regard. It might have been the best way to score the goal, and that I have no problem with. Yeah.